All right, we're live. Welcome everyone to another episode of Thrones and Rings with the CHRILLCAST. I'm Will.
And I'm Andrew. And this time it's only Thrones because
Yep.
thankfully Rings is over.
I was hoping for the episode 9 for you, buddy.
I know. Sadly, there's no redeeming qualities to that season. So,
No, not at all.
but Thrones, let's get into that.
Yeah, Thrones. Okay, obviously this was season finale, and it ended not at all in the way that we predicted, which I think this was a subverting of expectations that I think I might be okay with.
I think it was in a good way.
Yeah, because the whole season you're building up and you think it's gonna be an epic dragon fight, and then no, this whole season was just world building. They were just getting ready, and I you know what, I respect that.
I respect it because of the fact that I think, objectively looking at it, right? If this was the very first season and you had no expectations given Game of Thrones, right? No expectations. So comparing it exclusively to season 1 of Game of Thrones, right?
Mm-hmm.
This was by far more, I would say, more action packed in my opinion than season 1 of the original series. It had more epic moments than the original first season did. The only thing it's missing is that big battle scene, like an actual battle scene. I think. I mean, it has that one in the middle with Daemon and everything. I guess that's kind of a substitute for when Ned Stark's men get attacked by the Lannisters, but I feel like you could have had another actual combat scene, and it would have gone a long way having an actual combat scene between Westerosis, not them beating the shit out of some band of pirates per se.
Yeah.
Obviously, elephant in the room, based on the previous episodes of this review. Yes, I can't give it a 10 out of 10 just purely because it didn't have that epic battle scene. I'm still going to probably end up giving it a 9 based on just my initial gut. You could maybe convince me otherwise, but that's where I'm at initially. I really liked just the general vibe from the episode.
Me too.
The little things, right? Like how the table, the map table works with the lit up and everything. That I can't express how far that went aesthetically to the episode. It's so contrast with how Stannis had it.
Yep.
It's so contrasted, and I think truly conveys how peak this era of Westeros is. When the Targaryens they're really this is the peak of their civilization, which I don't think people truly understand that they've fallen in the original series. And they're now a lesser kingdom.
Yeah, well, they try to explain it where obviously there's no dragons, but also when they see the dragon skulls, I don't know if you can see that in the show. You have like the gigantic the dread.
You've shown it once, I think, with
Arya. So you see the huge skull, but then it goes down all the way to the last dragon, which is the skull's the size of a cat skull.
Yeah, and I don't know if they really get into that too much, but you got to remember too that the dragons have to live a long freaking time to get big, and so obviously when the dragons are dying or just going their own way, you're not going to have a lot of big dragons. You're only going to have those tiny ones.
That's why the dragons in the Game of Thrones show suck, because they got too big too quickly, and they make them so freaking powerful. Where in here they're very vulnerable.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Maybe it's just scale and proportion, but you don't come off thinking that the Sun's dragons are a threat to anybody. Like,
well, they're kind of a threat, but not
fire, right?
Yeah,
but they're just a glorified guard dog of sorts.
Yeah.
Would they be impactful on a battlefield? Yeah, but I still get the impression that a bunch of archers could still take it down, right? And okay, I don't know about you, but I was 100% on board with what they did, in the sense that I saw it coming.
Yeah, well, as
And
soon
the
as that
problem
he
is,
lands and you see the dragon's head lift
I
up
was
over the
yeah,
freaking
I was
castle,
like,
oh, he's dead.
he's done. But here's the thing. This is why I want to rate this highly still, is because from the second Damon starts blustering about how many dragons they have,
Yeah.
the second he starts blustering about that, I'm just like, dude, your dragons are small. The one can just eat you. Like, it instantly came to my mind. It's like, your dragons aren't going to take out the big one. They're not,
Yeah,
like,
they're gonna have to target the rider, and then the
yeah,
dragon might just piss off.
all of your dragons might be able to, but if you piss that dragon off, he's still going to kill like half of your dragons.
Yep.
Because he can literally just bite them out of the air. And that thought instantly came to me, and I'm just like, are they going to do something like that? Is that they're going to lose a bunch of dragons or something to this thing? And I appreciate the ending, because it's exactly like, I instantly went there of like, oh, there's no way they're going to actually do that, because it just seems too perfect. Of like, it was too perfect. Your natural instinct was to be like, there's no way, but they went there. And it's the natural thing. It's the best way to write it, and it subverts expectations, because are they really going to kill the second son? Like,
because they keep doing it.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where even I couldn't think of a better way to write it, and that's rare. I like, it's the exact opposite of my complaints with like the last 3 seasons of Game of Thrones, the original series, right? I could think of better ways to write almost all of it. It's one of those things where you're instantly critiquing it.
Yeah, well, they didn't have a plan, and it doesn't make any sense. Like how, like a good dragon scene, well, a good example of a bad dragon scene, rather, from the original show, is when Daenerys somehow misses an entire fleet.
Yeah.
From the sky.
Or when she manages to just fly all the way to the north in minutes. It's my only complaint is obviously, though, that it was kind of dumb to even rely on Storm's End, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
He had too much incentive to betray them, so.
Yep. But, I mean, I don't know. The leaders continuously think that they can, be safe with an envoy, but the envoys are always getting killed. So it's like, there's nothing safe.
Especially in something as high stakes as this, like sending.
Well, they should have sent Daemon.
Right.
Because he would have one. He has a bigger.
He would have. One,
but two,
also intimidated the shit out of his nephew.
Yes.
His nephew. So.
Also, so speaking of the dragon fights, the way that they can take down that big one is going for the wings.
Yeah.
So if they only target the wings, they can take on the big dragon.
Right.
Because they're much quicker. They actually show that those little ones are way faster. But head to head, no, obviously can't win.
So let's just clarify it too. Was it him losing control of his dragon that caused him to get killed? Because his dragon shot fire and pissed off the big one, right?
Yeah, they definitely make it seem like he didn't mean for that to happen.
I can't tell if that was like a FU on the way out, or because I can't imagine that little dragon wanted to do that. You would think that little dragon wanted to GTFO out of there, because I'm sorry, they can't possibly be that dumb that they would actually want to F with that big one, right? But then obviously he loses control of the big one. But
for sure. But they both are saying, like, obey me, like, don't do this stupid shit.
Right. I mean, Shark Week was fun. I don't think the one appreciates it. But yeah, it was basically Shark Week, and little dragons are seals compared to the big shark.
Yep.
I guess Daemon now is going to have a bigger dragon. He went to
so that scene was confusing to me. Is that the one that he has already, or is he going to get a wild dragon?
He went to take one of the wild ones that live there on the island.
Yeah, so I wonder if that's going to be the sort of the wild card because you don't really know how big that thing is. So
Didn't
if they're
look
going to
nearly
say
as big as the other one, though.
no, but I mean, if it's sizable,
Right.
then like I said, all you have to do is take the freaking rider off.
Right. I do like the fact though that Amond it has the sapphire eye now. That's pretty.
Mm-hmm.
That is kind of dope. No, I'd say it was a strong episode. I thought it was done pretty well. How there's the whole politics side of it. They're actually contemplating not going to war. A little disappointing that they don't fry the hand, but that's a different issue.
Yeah, I hope they kill that guy. Oh my gosh, I hate him.
He became so annoying. Like you think he's reasonable, but he's not.
Mm-hmm.
They completely subvert your expectations there. I was happy not to see Foot Fetish Guy anymore.
Yeah.
I want him to die in the worst way because he's just annoying.
Mm-hmm.
I did like how they kind of made these episodes mirrors of each other where it's the opposite side of the aisle.
Yep.
I think if you watch them back to back, that's gonna turn out really well in the future.
Yeah, you're really gonna be able to see that the Allison episode and the Rhaenyra episode.
It's definitely, I would say this is definitely a bingeable season.
Oh yeah, well, I think this is the way it needs to be watched as a binge.
I think yes, 100% binge because of the fact that it's such a world building season. And obviously you were mentioning it earlier that they were just so confident in this world building, and I think it is like the first thing I thought of right after that episode ended. First of all, Shark Week, but it's just like no way. That's how they're ending it, and it's just like, well, obviously, all I have now is anticipation for the next season. There's no other way to look at it. It's just like, when is that next season coming out?
It's the complete opposite of what happened with the Rings of Power. Instead of stretching out that major event and actually building up the world in this season, and then building up to building rings, there's like, here's the
rings.
Yeah,
like we got rid of the thing that you're supposed to be anticipating in the future. We've completely removed it as an element there. In House of the Dragon, it's just like, well, the prophecy hangs over our heads. The conflict now with her pissed off Rhaenyra, because now obviously she's going to be pissed, right?
Oh yeah.
That's all of that has been left in anticipation. You have something to look forward to, clear and present in that last episode. And even the fact that Daemon wasn't told about the prophecy, a bunch of little things, right? Like things that actually make you think that the prophecy is important. Well, you already know it is because of the original, but
yeah, well, kinda. The show just ruined it, but yes, it is important in the actual lore.
Yeah, in the actual lore, it's important, and the show treats it as if it's the secret that it's supposed to be for the royal family. Okay, but yeah, exact opposite. I don't look forward to any. What am I looking forward to in Rings of Power? Comparatively, nothing. Maybe to see this colony that was supposedly abandoned that no one remembered until we got refugees, Magic City up here. It's just impressive. I would say the level of world building, it feels completely different to the original still. It's unique.
Yeah, well, and what's crazy about this is that just going back to the world building and feeling confident in the story they're telling, they actually were not greenlit with the season 2 until they had already made the show.
Well, I feel like it was. You could be.
Yeah, I mean, it became super popular, but there's always that chance that HBO said, "Well, it didn't get the numbers we wanted."
True.
They still didn't rush it, so I don't know.
Here's the other thing: I would say this ending better than any ending of any season, except for maybe the Battle at the Wall. Wasn't that the last
I don't remember
episode?
the episode numbers. No, the thing is, I watched most of those seasons back to back, so I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, I think the Battle of the Night's Watch at the Wall was a final
That was a finale.
episode.
That was phenomenal.
I think
But
that was a finale. I can't remember for certain. It was either the finale or the episode before the finale, but I thought it was, or it was because Jon Snow wasn't killed right after that. That was an earlier season. I thought that wasn't season 5 that the Battle at the Wall happened, right?
I don't know. Because he died. That might actually how they end that season. They die. He gets
That was so poorly done. I don't think that was that shocking. Maybe. 1 second. Let me Google it real quick.
Okay. Anyway, that kid got eaten immediately.
Oh yeah, you don't even see his body going down.
No. Maybe he's clinging to the bottom of Aemon's dragon, and you just think he's dead.
Oh yeah. Was it Watchers on the Wall? Was that the one?
I love the actor's face though after that scene, after that moment happens, because he's like, "Oh shit!"
Right. Oh yeah. You can tell there's so much to be seen in there. It's. They don't tell me. Why is it?
I don't exactly know what his plan was because he was, really screwing around there. But I don't think he meant for his dragon to eat him.
Well, here are the best battles currently of the original series. You had the loot train attack, which I'll say that was pretty epic for being a later season.
Mm-hmm.
Hard Home.
Oh yeah, when he floats off in the night.
But that was the 8th episode of season 5.
Okay.
So the battle. Wait, does that mean the battle already took place before that?
Yeah, must have.
So that was like episode 7 then. Okay. No, that doesn't make okay. Yeah. Wait, Watchers on the Wall. What is the pen? Okay, 1 second.
Well, how do you think the first episode of next season is going to start?
Conflict immediately. There's going to be a tit for tat type thing for sure.
Who's the first green that's going to die? Do you think?
Oof. I don't think it's going to be any of the children. It might be, honestly, they might go Toast Hightower.
So, or Kristen Cole. I freaking hate that guy now.
Well, okay, I would love for Kristen Cole to die just because what he did to Sir Beasley. Oh my gosh. That was so unnecessary.
Yes, it was.
And then he resists his commander.
Mm-hmm.
And then acts like the queen is the king. No, she's not even a Targaryen. It's what? Where is he coming from? That's the question. I did like the aspect of the Kingsguard divided.
Mm-hmm. That was cool. Especially divided even between brothers. That was neat.
Yeah. That was a good scene when he brought her the crown. I would say that was pretty epic.
Oh yeah, well that miscarriage scene was brutal.
Yes, which I would have expected her to be a bit more angry about that. Maybe that's one of those things that I was a little surprised by. She just seemed to accept that and not, because clearly that was kind of caused by the terrible news.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's trying to mourn. Like, she just lost her dad. Obviously, she was betrayed, and she lost a child, all like within the same scene.
Yeah.
There's a lot to process.
There is. And then I just would have liked it if they toasted Hightower.
I know. She should have just had it like her dragon eat him. That would have been freaking awesome.
Right. It didn't
But
seem
now
very...
the thing is, they keep doing like a tit for tat thing where you don't know which side's actually going to f up in that particular scene.
Yeah. I mean, there has to be some sort of comeback though for the son dying.
Yes. So I'm pretty certain all of our kids die.
I'm pretty sure they get eliminated altogether, don't they?
Yeah, I think that entire branch does. I can't quite remember how this goes, to be honest, but I think that's what happens.
So the Starks can't possibly back her if that's the way it goes.
I mean, they flip flop all the time, so who cares?
That's true, but I mean, you don't see the Starks getting eliminated. I feel like if you back the wrong side in this, that's line-ending betrayal of the Targaryens.
Yeah, or they just respond, "Winter is coming. We don't care." Deal with your shit by yourself.
That's true. It's
Maybe they'll finally wake the stone dragon that's under the wall. Pay that off finally.
Isn't there supposed to be the legend of the dragon that's like under Winterfell that actually heats the...
Yes, that's right. So maybe it's
spring?
not the wall. So there's one there, but there's also supposed to be one in Dragonstone.
Right.
It's like maybe that would be cool. Like I doubt anyone would forget to write that down, but that would be really neat to see.
Just a random dragon. Or what if one of the dragons... It's annoying because Martin clearly had ideas there that were never going to be reflected in the show, but they needed to reflect it in some way, right? Yeah. Him having a dragon egg or something would have been like the symbol of him actually being a Targaryen child.
Mm-hmm.
There had to be something to prove Jon Snow's lineage, right?
Yep.
And they have the hot spring, which basically kind of meets the requirements of Dragon's Son, where they like to live.
It would be cool if he finds a clutch of eggs under Winterfell.
Right.
That would be super cool. I mean, dragons have been there several times, so it would be totally within the realm.
I mean, maybe that's something they explore in the sequel.
Yeah, the House of the Wolves.
No, they're not doing that because
yes, they are.
Stupid. I'm actually super disappointed that hasn't been one of the storylines that's been muted. But no, they just...
I still want them to explore in season 2 how the prophecy actually details that the White Walkers will be like defeated, and then really like a bigger wave will come and just wipe out everyone.
Right. I feel like for this prophecy, right? I feel like there hasn't been enough dialogue with the Starks.
Yeah.
I feel like there should at least be something there.
I honestly don't think the Targaryens ever put that together until what's Jon's dad?
Oh shit, I'm blanking on his name.
Yeah, me too.
Rhaegar.
I think it is Rhaegar, isn't it? No, that's the dragon's name.
No.
So it's close to that though, because Rhaegar is named after that guy.
I thought it was... No, it is Rhaegar.
What's the dragon's name?
Rhaegar. She names the dragon after both brothers.
Okay, whatever. So yeah, Rhaegar Targaryen.
She names it after... So there's Drogon, there's Rhaegar, there's Viserys, right?
Yeah, you're right. All right.
So she names them after... Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm not blanking on that.
Yeah, right. So Rhaegar is the first one to realize that, which is why he marries a Stark.
How does the prophecy get conveyed along the line then?
What do you mean?
How, if obviously Rhaenyra doesn't win this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So does she tell are they going to have her tell the prophecy?
I don't know, unless Alicent knows it, because...
No, she can't, because she totally biffs understanding what the prince that was promised is.
That's true.
So if that was the case, she would have known. There's going to have to be something there she's going to be taken prisoner, not killed in battle or something, and she's just going to have to be like, there's something more important for the realm, and they're going to have her do like some honorable thing before she's killed. But like, yeah, I was going to say, going back to it though, this was definitely, I think, the best, most frustrating cliffhanger finale that they've ever had for a Game of Thrones related episode.
Oh, for sure.
And I mean, Ned Stark being beheaded, pretty solid way to do it. I think this tops it.
Yeah, it's tough because that was such a shock, and you knew something was going to happen here.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because you never. Okay, Ned Stark, very first time anyone's done that. First time, right?
Yep.
It's shocking, but you kind of know what's happening next, right? Kind of know.
We also but he's the archetype of the hero, so you're just like, he can't die,
right?
And then he still does. And there's multiple chances, that you think he's going to get out of it at the very end, and then he doesn't.
Right.
Whereas here, no one's really emerging as the true hero at the moment.
Yeah.
So when you see that dragon lifts its head, you already know, oh, that kid's going to die. And you do the rest of the episode, you're just waiting for it.
You don't know for sure.
Oh, I knew. I didn't know he was going to die from the dragon or not.
I didn't know how he was going to die.
Yes.
I completely agree. But then they also convinced you that he was going to get away.
Nope.
Potentially.
I was just like, there's no way.
There was potential for him to get away. There was a question of if they had the balls to end it right then and there with that Shark Week attack. Okay,
I appreciate they ended with Rhaenyra though, just looking super pissed.
Oh yeah, 100%. How did they even get news of it though? That's the real question.
I mean, it's possible that. Well, I think he probably flew home and was like, "Yeah, I killed this guy," and they probably sent a
apology raven.
Apology, yeah, that's probably what it was. It's like, yeah, this got out of hand already.
There's no hope for it to be peaceful because of him effing up.
Yep.
There was potential, but no. And I would say this. Let's just look through the episodes real quick and just think of like how they ended. And I think they were began, right? I think they all had some pretty good moments in it. I don't think there was a bad episode in the lot. There's even the ones that, because, okay, we could say that they have some meandering episodes, right? Similar to season 4 from the original, where there's just some meandering ones. You're not really sure what they're trying to get with it type of thing at first. But in this season, it makes sense because it's world building, right? And I feel like you got value out of even those episodes where nothing really happens. I'm trying to think. I guess there's the one with the hunt in it, right? That was kind of meandering and didn't have a lot of value, except world building.
Yep.
And it's setting up the Kristen Cole affair.
Mm-hmm.
So it serves a purpose. I mean, there's literally episodes of season 4 in the original series that
they're just pure filler. I never felt a single episode was filler because every episode that's like, it was slow maybe, but like you said, it's world building.
World building, and it builds into the next episode.
Yes, completely.
It's not just Arya's taking a journey across the country, finds herself on a boat. She's just on a boat. And, you know, there's that whole episode, and then it's like the Hound just fights Brianna, and
yeah,
it's not a good episode. I'd say that's the worst episode of Game of Thrones. And you're supposed to believe,
but yeah.
Okay, fine. There's some
terrible episodes. Yes.
Fine. The finale is the worst episode ever, but the grand.
The freaking dragon, man. I hate Daenerys' dragons. The thing is, now that we've seen the way they're supposed to be depicted, I freaking hate the other ones because they grow up so fast. They're just mega tanks.
They did grow
until
up
they're not.
real fast, and now they've had it where they are like developing slowly, and it's pretty great. I like the fact that a dragon is not an automatic
win.
Yeah, I love the fact that the dragons actually have to develop, that they actually grow with their rider. And then the fact that, oh, there's these big ass dragons that exist, but those big ass dragons, those have had multiple riders. There's a legacy here. Are you worthy of this dragon is the question. Obviously, the one Targaryen brother is not worthy of that big ass dragon. He can't control it. He just rides it to the destination and it hopes he obeys.
Yeah.
Right? He's a passenger. He was never worthy of the smaller dragons. There's a reason his dragon didn't hatch, type of thing. But then he goes and takes the one, and then he becomes kind of a badass because he has to, meet the expectations, but he's still the person who doesn't, truly have the right to control that dragon.
Yep.
It's the punishment for stealing it, technically. Here's the part. Okay, there's one thing actually, now that I look back on it, that's kind of weird. The dragon for Aegon does not appear in a long time.
I don't think he's a rider. I think he has one.
But you don't think he's riding it these days? Because they said he was, because they treated him like he could control it when he was younger.
Well, I mean, maybe I'm just reading into him too much, but because he's such a jackass, I think maybe he's been neglecting that part.
I mean, he
rode it into a fight, like he's going to get his ass kicked because he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah. I mean, he rode it to Dragonstone the one time.
That's true, but we've seen Rhaenyra ride her dragon a lot, so I'm sure that's going to play into it. And also, like, obviously, Daemon rides his weird slender dragon all the time.
Yeah, that dragon still baffles me. It's the only one like it.
And I think they're just trying to make him unique so you could differentiate.
They're trying to make that one unique because it's Daemon.
Yeah.
And he has to be unique because he's uniquely an asshole.
Or they have a plan for that body style is going to somehow factor into a fight.
Right.
And they worked it backwards.
I thought Daemon was a little over the top when he did the pick our side or die thing to the King's Guard. There was no indication that they would betray them. They had no indication that there was any reason that the line of succession would change. So that was a bit baffling. I mean, it is Daemon, though. He likes to take things, to that level. I appreciate it. His character's fantastic.
Yep, he's very excited to start killing people.
The actor's good. I actually really like the actor in that role. I can't express enough how well casted that is. Which, going back to, let's just say, Rings of Power here, I don't know if Rings of Power was cast well. I can say that.
I don't know.
I can say with 100% assurance that I believe every single character has been casted pretty darn perfectly for House of the Dragon.
Yeah, but is that because they were cast perfectly, or a combination of that with really good writing, really good directors, good video?
They were casted perfectly because every single one of them was able to make that their role with the writing, with the directing.
Well, stuff you can say that when there's good writing, but the Rings of Power, the writing was so freaking terrible. Like, does any of those actors actually have an opportunity to shine?
Durin and Elrond, which were
those have different writers. I'm convinced of it that those scenes have different writers because some of them are actually
because I don't think that Durin's wife actually was the best for that role. But maybe that's just maybe that was the bad writing for her when they made her power hungry all of a sudden.
Yeah, suddenly she's. But I don't know if that was her. I think that was just the way they wrote that.
Right. I just thought that I don't know. There were only two characters that I thought were well casted and that was Durin and Elrond. That was basically it. Everyone else is kind of meh. But then again, like I'll agree that the writing was so bad it's hard to tell. But can you really tell me that that's purely directing and writing?
The thing is, I just have to give them the benefit of the doubt because I don't know.
Okay, Galadriel. Can you really tell me that that's
I don't know, man, because I've never seen her anything else. She was terrible in this, so maybe she is just a terrible actress on top of a terrible script and everything.
I mean, the filming was bad. The filming was pretty bad. How they dramatized everything she did.
Oh gosh,
everything.
Clearly,
like
the person directing her facial facial expressions,
reactions,
just look like you're pooping the entire time.
I mean, that's the thing. I can honestly tell you that the actors in House of the Dragon acted. There was acting.
The female characters acted powerful. They acted vulnerable. They showed pain.
Yes.
They showed strength. They showed weakness. They showed intelligence. They showed
single one of them. Every single one of them had an opportunity to do the full breadth of emotions. The full spread there, right? Rhaenyra's been filmed having children how many times? She has sorrow how many times? She has joy, right? They give her joy. I don't even have. I know people complained about the recasting and not just using CGI makeup to make them look older. I only really complain about that for the husband, Sir Leonard, because I feel like he comes off more badass in his younger self, and they want him to still be the warrior, just removed from conflict. And I don't think the second actor necessarily.
They should have had maybe his hair come down like his dad's or something. I don't know.
Right, it's hard to say, but I just
like kind of like a soy boy. It wasn't great.
Right. I feel like he could have been made stronger. I don't know if that was the director's choice, that he's just a disheartened person who's stuck in King's Landing. But that's the only. If I had to complain about one actor, it would be that.
Yeah.
And obviously, okay, let's get the other elephant out of the room here. It's still kind of weird that they casted the Valerians as black just because of the secession thing.
Yeah.
And
they should have had the House Strong guy also be mixed or something, just to make a little more sense.
Right. The fact that there's any question to the validity of their births, it's like, okay.
They created a problem unnecessarily, and
they created something that broke the wall a little bit in the show, and that's my only complaint. I think maybe there's the fact that they do treat it like it's not supposed to be a mystery, or even like question, like, oh, obviously they're not his kids. I don't know if that fits with the reality of the story, but
I feel like the sea snake would be less likely to join like up in arms with her because she cuckolded his son essentially.
Well, he knew he was gay.
Yeah, so maybe he just accepts it.
I mean, he would be much more aligned now that the other children are betrothed. He just had to wait a generation, right? So it's still his family that's there. He's still getting his bloodline into.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot that they're married to the daughters now.
Yeah, but they're betrothed.
Oh, true.
And now they're down one. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Well, they have the youngest son still, so I guess they could just.
Oh, that age gap is so damn big, bro.
Like, they don't care.
I know they don't, but she's old. Okay, it's the wrong direction here for them to care. No, but like, I don't know if it fits. I think maybe they took it as an opportunity to really make it that the king was blind to Rhaenyra's behavior. That's the only credit I'm willing to give on that. But I do feel like it breaks the wall a little of the version. And It's like, it's not debatable, you guys. Even the common peasant would know that this is kind of bullshit.
Yeah, they should have had again, like the how strong people be mixed at that point, just to have it make more biological sense. Because then at the same time, you're like, well, I don't know. And because again, like I said, I think Rhaenyra doesn't even know in the actual history.
Right.
Because surely they would have tried.
Gay, right? I don't know.
I think he might actually I think he may have been gay. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. There's a reason that she got cold.
Yes. Yeah. So, but they would have at least tried. So it would have been interesting if there was some where, again, the mixed race, so that you can know, or you wouldn't necessarily know which one's which. There you go. That's what I wanted to say.
It's just that thing right there that adds a lot of, I don't know, it adds some lack of immersion. The thing is, it's still acted pretty well, and they don't try to pass it off as if it's an unknown secret. Still, they do change the writing to at least account for that decision, and to make it more where it's a willful blindness by her father, and glory houndedness by the sea snake. Yeah, that's maybe my only complaint. Those are like my only complaints with the season. That's
really it as well. And the thing is, I can look past it because it's still really enjoyable, and I don't like.
Well, they write it well.
Yeah,
they still write it well. That's the thing. My only complaints with it are still written well, because they made Sir Leonard weak so that they could get rid of him. Right. I feel like they could have made him more of a drunk. Not weak, but a drunk.
Yeah, like Robert Baratheon almost.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm like. He's just unhappy being domesticated, so you have to let him go. I feel like that would have been better writing, maybe. It would have been more believable to his character instead of him all of a sudden becoming a sissy.
True.
Because you're not convinced, right? Here, okay. He's a warrior, right? He's supposed to be a good warrior. She just got done talking about how she needs strong warriors, but he's not good. He's not good as her king, right? But why? Right? Like, obviously, Damon's better. Don't get me wrong. That's conveyed pretty well. But it's a question of, like, why is he so? What's his main weakness here? He has a conflicting personality trait. He's a good warrior, but he's kind of a bitch. Like, where does one begin? Where does the other end? At least if he's just a drunk, kind of like Aegon's a drunk. At least then that makes sense. You can't have a drunk. He's a great warrior. You would love to have him fight for you, but you can't rely on him. Right. I think that's the only improvement I can think of is with Sir Leonard's character. That's about it. Outside of that, I think the season is like top notch. I would say it's better than the first season of Game of Thrones.
I had to rewatch this season, but no, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed every episode.
It is tough, actually, for me to say that, because you have Bran being kicked out of the tower right off the bat. You have the attack on Ned Stark. You have the attack with the cat's paw dagger to try to kill Bran, hurting Catelyn Stark. You have the beheading of Ned Stark. Is there anything I'm explicitly missing? Because outside of that,
you get to see the first White Walker in the very first episode.
So she captures Tyrion in the first season, right? She takes him prisoner.
I think so.
So you get to see the crazy shit in the Eyrie. Okay, the first season of Game of Thrones is pretty strong.
It's tough to beat that just because Tyrion is amazing, and there is no Tyrion character in this.
And even Littlefinger's counterparts knockoff.
Not as good, yeah.
Yeah, he's a combination of Varys and Littlefinger, and it doesn't necessarily play as well. No. He's just a foot fetish person.
All right, so final verdict for this episode. You said a 9. What about the season? What would you rank it?
Well, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna keep it at a 9 for the episode, just because that is like clearly the second strongest finale in my opinion. Mm-hmm. At least, like Ned Stark being beheaded, I'll say is the strongest. Just it's the first of its kind.
Yep.
So that's the strongest. This is second. Which almost makes me want to rank it higher, but I can't just because on principle, mm-hmm. 10 out of 10 is for epic battle. Season. How would you rank the first season of Game of Thrones?
Probably a 9. I really, really enjoyed it.
I would almost rank the second season pretty high up there too. At least an 8.
Mm-hmm.
I think this splits the difference. I would give it like an 8.5, almost a 9. It's the level of world building is pretty top notch.
Mm-hmm.
This is clearly the foundation of stone that multiple seasons are going to be built on.
Yeah, and shows don't do this anymore, where they actually take their time and they don't rush
right.
it. And I just appreciate it. Like, yeah, 8.5. Yeah. That's good for me too. It was a really good season. There was nothing where there was never an episode. It's like, oh God, okay, well, nothing's going to happen this episode. It's just waiting for the next episode.
Mm-hmm. And I can't say that they didn't do the Star Wars thing, right? Where you're just repasting arcs from mm-hmm. previous things. This was unique. Yes, so it has to be at least an 8.5. Mm-hmm. It could almost be a 9 up there with the first one, but it's hard to put it with season 1 on the same footing. Just because season 1 really does hold up, in my opinion. It holds up very well.
Also, season 1, so this is a much more focused story, even though the battle's going to be more epic. The Game of Thrones, which was a much more sprawling and complicated story.
And it did it very well.
Yeah, because there's so many more things going on.
Yeah, because you had Joffrey being Joffrey.
Yeah.
You had Sansa Stark losing her wolf and everything, and that there's a lot of heartbreak in that mm-hmm. season. And you really feel for everything, like just the Starks being spread out and all.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'll stick with this being an 8.5. It's going to be good when you binge it. That's the best thing I can say about it. It's honestly extremely bingeable. You're going to be looking, if you watch it, you're going to be constantly looking forward to the next tidbit of world building information. Even with the way that they just throw the recasting in your face a little bit,
mm-hmm.
it's still good.
Agreed.
And I feel like they clearly casted the grown-ups very well.
Yep.
Overall, right? They by the time you're done with this season, you're like, yep, those are the characters. They grow into them very well.
Agreed.
The young actress though for Rhaenyra was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
She probably could have pulled off being aged a little, but I think she's a bit young.
Yeah, well, this thing about the scenes that the older actress has done, like there's been multiple different scenes. Like she straight up pulls that baby out of her. I don't
know if the young one could have done it. Yeah, there's some acting depth that was required, right? Yes. And I don't think the younger actress was as experienced.
Agreed.
Or seasoned, let's say, in acting to pull it off.
I'm looking forward to the next one. Let's hope it
comes out. Honestly, I think
it's crazy because I went into the show thinking, oh, this is just gonna make cash grabs. It's gonna suck.
I actually went in optimistic. I'll be honest. I went in optimistic because can you really F it up that bad? I know. Okay. Here's the thing, though.
Yes.
Let me put it this way. They already had the criticism from the last, from the main season, right? All right, like you can't not listen to that, right? You can't ignore.
Yes, they can.
No.
I'm sure that the people who wrote Rings of Power got some criticism in the early drafts and they didn't care.
Okay, but Rings of Power is like different. Your author's dead. Your author is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Your fan base is removed from the original content. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You're removed now from that original content. The movies came out a long time ago. Right? I guess there's The Hobbit. But let's be honest, The Hobbit kind of started us on the path to where we are now with the liberties being taken. Okay. Now, I think they went into it thinking they can't screw it up because no one has ever really complained too hard about a Lord of the Rings show. They've always, like, Lord of the Rings has always received pretty good reviews. Even The Hobbit with its three, with the
Yeah, it's
extra
still
content,
enjoyable at the end of the day.
still enjoyable because it's the dwarves. They're enjoyable, right? I have a bigger appreciation for The Hobbit now after
it's a masterpiece.
compared to the TV series. I have an appreciation now for those movies more than I used to. But that's what I'm saying. I don't think anyone has had the criticism to feel like they have to be guarded about effing it up.
Mm-hmm.
So they just effed it up. They felt like they couldn't fail. I think they saw that even something that was previously thought of as potentially a failure, The Hobbit trilogy, because it didn't need to be a trilogy, right?
Nope.
But that still performed and received good reviews.
Agreed.
Whereas the last season of Game of Thrones was panned. People hate, even the people who like Daenerys effing hated that ending. I don't like Daenerys, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I thought she was that character to a certain extent and worse as far as just the character.
Yeah, the show character sucked the entire time.
I thought the show character sucked, but also you can say that it didn't really get built into, but she's always had that maniacal, like that maniac perspective of just killing people, right? And I think it was poorly written that she ended up there the way she ended up, but I've never really enjoyed her character. No. She's the worst one to read, even. I know you think she's not as bad in the books, you've said, right?
She's not as bad in the books, but I mean, her storyline is still not super interesting.
Yeah, her storyline is not awesome at all. It's boring as shit. And maybe it will become more interesting with the conflict that's happening.
I'm sure it will be, but the thing is, like, in the books, I'm just like, okay, where's the Stark chapters? Because you're interested in all the cool Stark stuff.
It's not just the Starks, Tyrion.
Oh, yeah, and Tyrion.
Jaime Lannister, even Cersei is interesting, right? Mm-hmm. I can't say that there's a terribly boring character outside of Daenerys. I think she's literally the only character that is just like, fuck, I just got to Daenerys chapter. Time to read it, but not enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else is just, she has the misfortune of being the least favorite chapters. They're the least interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, but the fact is, even the people who loved her in the show hated that season ending, that finale of a season. So clearly the showrunners had to come into this on their A game.
And do a better job.
They 100% delivered on that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's the point, right? This was viewed as like a redemption project. They couldn't leave what would be worse? People hating Game of Thrones because of the ending, and then you come in and you butcher another series, right? Where's your money? Where's your cash grab going to come from? You're not going to sell shit.
Yeah, it's true. So they had to do better.
You had to do better. You had to come in with your A game because they needed to redeem the goodwill towards Game of Thrones merch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I bet they haven't been selling as good since that finale.
No, I'm sure. Yeah.
I'm sure there was a downturn. You know how fast they came up with coming up having prequels and sequels and other stories from the universe. It was, I mean, they didn't really talk about it before the last season, did they? I think they started exploring immediately.
Yeah, they did. They had like 5 in production at once.
Yeah, like I'm just saying, HBO saw the screw up there, and they had to correct that. They're not going to do like my idea for an episode 9 to Rings of Power level of redemption, but it's just one of those things where let's tell another story.
Yeah,
they did a good job, but they do need the House of the Wolf.
Absolutely.
I'm actually kind of pissed that that's not one of the stories that they're exploring. With Brand the Builder and everything, how can you not?
It would be amazing. I would love to see that.
Or the corrupt king on the Night King or whatever his name on the wall. Like, how are you not? How are you not the 13th Commandment? Like, why are you not wanting to tell that story? You teased the crap out of that in the original series.
Mm-hmm.
That's super teased. Anything old man says is like
they just dropped the ball on it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think they remember it. Actually, I think that's part of the problem. I think they've kind of overlooked it for more bigger, sexier story arcs, which is kind of disappointing because you could kind of get like a horror theme in there, and you could make it a little creepy and suspenseful, and because you have no idea what she is.
Nope.
Maybe Martin doesn't even know what she is. Like, honestly.
Maybe.
So it's
overall, I like the season. I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yeah. They can't. I mean, if they even do a fraction of what this is, it's gonna be like a 7 still.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's honestly where it's at. It will be epic because it's gonna be a lot of conflict.
I hope it's just a full season of dragons fighting each other. That'd be great.
Honestly, it might. It might have dragon battles every single episode. I don't know. How many seasons do you think they're trying to get out of this?
I think only 2, but I don't know that.
Because I don't know how you get a third.
Yeah, I mean, they can keep going with Targaryens because there's still a lot of them, but...
Right. I guess if you just do the family line all the way through to the Mad King, it's kind of...
Yeah.
How
Let's
much?
go just 2 seasons of this, and then we get House of the Wolves.
Someone needs to propose that to them because there's so much there.
Mm-hmm.
Or Martin just needs to freaking finish Winds of Winter because I'm sure half of that shit gets answered in that book.
Yes.
I'm sure, like... Okay, sorry, viewers of this podcast. This is going to become a mini rant real quick. Winds of Winter answers a bajillion questions about the Stark family. It is basically the book that is going to be the Mysteries of Stark. I can't picture it any other way. You're going to have so many different elements there.
Mm-hmm.
Rickon does not die. Sorry for the spoiler. There's no way he gets treated dirty like the show did on it. There's no bloody way. He's the entire intrigue of politics in the North right now, in that where the books are at.
You do love Rickon.
Huh?
You do love that character. That's a favorite character.
Oh, I mean, yes, because there's so many epic ways to write that character going forward. It's not even funny. That is my favorite character because Shaggy Dog is going to be a bastard of a wolf, and I look forward to it.
Yeah,
Like, also, just Skagos, man. It just sounds like an epic story arc to bring in, and you also have the element of Rob and his heir, because his will is out there, literally out there, being brought back by the few people he decided to send through the Kragenman area. And you know they're going to survive that because literally it's their own allies who control that space. There's so many elements there that the question is either Martin forgot about it, he forgot about writing it, or he's just going to have a ton of bombs drop in Winds of Winter, and it's going to be epic. Just like there's the giant pack of wolves running around.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. That better get paid off.
Yes, that better be paid off in some rhyme or fashion. If Arya can control a whole wolf pack because her wolf is a badass, then I'm cool with it. Like that's the epic thing that Arya needs to be. She just needs to be a wolf queen. I don't care. Like, don't make her go kill the Night King. She can't do that.
Fly like 30 feet.
Right. I'll be honest, the Arya with becoming a faceless man is like one of the dumbest storylines as well. It's pointless.
It could be cool, but no, it was awful.
Do you think that story arc is actually cool in the books, though?
It could be. It hasn't gone anywhere, right? I honestly can't remember. It's been so long since I've read it now.
I guess the problem is that it is super early in the books, and I'm now conflating a preview chapter.
Yeah.
That I've read, where she.
So I haven't read those. I purposely haven't read the preview chapters.
Okay, I'm conflating a preview chapter right now from Winds of Winter, where she actually does something epic and kind of actually becomes the faceless man that she's depicted as. You've seen it in the show. You know what it is already, but so far in the book, it hasn't paid off. It's going to in some category, but I didn't think that it was done well in the series either. It seems kind of pointless because she just ends up back in Westeros.
Okay. All right. Well, anything?
No, mini rant over. It's just anticipation for season 2. It's high in my book. I can't think of another season that I've looked forward to as much.
Well, I mean, I would say season 2 for Game of Thrones I was really excited for. Season 2 of Lost I was excited for.
I didn't watch. This was the problem. I didn't get to watch Game of Thrones from the very beginning when it was coming out, so I don't have anticipation from season 1 to season 2. When did I start watching? I think, there's a lot of anticipation from season 3 to season 4, but then you're disappointed by season 4.
Yeah.
So.
You still have the anticipation, though.
Still have the anticipation. Or was it season 4 that had no, which one had the battle on the wall? Wasn't Watchers on the Wall like
4?
Was it 4?
I don't remember, man.
No, it was.
How many seasons are there? I can't remember now.
8.
All right, so the last 3 seasons are the ones that sucked.
Yeah. So 4 was still good.
6 was okay. It had some good episodes, but 7 and 8 were terrible.
5 had like 2 good episodes because that's when you had the Battle of the Bastards, right? And which was a good battle. I'll give it that.
No, I think that's later. I think that was season 6.
Was that season 6?
Or season 7, yeah.
I can't keep track of these seasons. Was season 4 just boring and season 5 the one with good things?
I honestly don't remember. I just remember Battle of Bastards was one of the last very cool things. It was one of the last seasons.
I'm gonna have to rewatch it all.
Okay, good luck.
I'm gonna have to. I have HBO right now for this, so might as well rewatch it. But, I mean. Yeah, maybe we'll have to do, if I rewatch it, maybe we do a follow-up.
Sounds good.
Maybe we do a follow up and actually compare it more so to the original series.
Okay.
But yeah, it's definitely a highly anticipated second season, and it's going to be epic.
Mm-hmm.
And if done right, if let's clarify that too, if it's done right, 100, I would have to say I could give it a 10.
Yeah,
I could give the whole season a 10 out of 10 if it's done right. I think that's where I'm at with.
I think it's achievable.
It is. Because they have so much conflict to resolve in that season,
mm-hmm.
and if they actually want to resolve it in 2 seasons, that's a heavy season.
Yeah, but good for them for not dragging it on for 1,000 seasons if they end up doing that.
They might do it in 3. That's the concern, right?
Yeah.
I can see them doing it in 3, in which case it won't be a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
It'd maybe be an 8. But
all right.
That concludes. I think that concludes.
Thank you everyone for tuning in to the last Thrones and Rings, at least for now.
Yeah.
And as always, I'm Will.
I'm Andrew.
And we'll see you on the next CHRILLCAST. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.